Can everyone hear me? Okay, greetings and welcome to the July meeting of the New Hope Metaphysical Society. I am Amy Borger-Lugo. I'm the director of this organization. And I'm proud to say we've been in existence now for 25 years. Thank you. And it's been exciting to see in the last, I'd say, couple years that there's been more and more people coming to our meetings. More and more people seem to be interested in the presentations we offer every month for the last 25 years of metaphysics, spirituality, personal growth, inner healing, personal journey, whatever you want to call it, new age, alternative to the conventional understandings of our world. And so we offer wonderful programs here, and you can always see them now on our YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel. Yeah, so we've got, I guess, about 12 or 13 programs now that are on YouTube. So check that out, and you can just Google YouTube and then search for New Hope Metaphysical Society, and you'll come up with our page. So welcome, everybody. How many people here are new and first-timers? Wow, a lot of you. Great, wonderful. Well, thank you for coming. I'd like to just give a brief history, as I always do for the newcomers. We started out in 1990. We were founded by a friend of mine named Bill Tomaszewski, who was a Reiki master and channeler himself, and had a sort of a vision to start an organization to support other people who were involved in the psychic mystical arts. And so he did. And we first met in the New Hope Public Library in New Hope, and that's why the name originally. And we stayed there for about 8 years or so, and then he moved to England, interestingly enough, to be with his lady love, who he met here in New Hope, interestingly enough. So I consider him our founding father, and I give him reports every month about what's going on with our group. And so then we moved to here, Pebble Hill Church in, 2000, I think, 1 or so, or 2000. And Don and I and other people who helped us along the way have run the organization. And presently, we are a for-profit organization. We have a board, and Gary Schoenberg is a member of our board. Right here, Gary. And we're also looking for other board members. We have 2 vacation positions right now. So we have a questionnaire for you to fill out at the end of the evening, which allows you to give us feedback on the programs, as well as your ideas. And if you'd like to volunteer, please do so. Indicate what you'd like to do. We need some people helping out, say with the day of the program, website, some marketing, and board members. And as members of the board, you just need to come once a month to our meetings. And here we plan the programs, and we bat around new ideas, and it's kind of exciting and fun. So that's what that is involving. Let's see what else. Last month we had a really good program with Katrine Love. I'm sure how many people were here for that, and you all liked it very much. Yeah, it was a great program. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. Personal reasons, my father passed away. So it's interesting that I'm here tonight. Perhaps I will connect with my father, during meditation later on. Let's see. Our website is www.spiritsvision.com. That's also listed on our brochure and business card. So if you're interested, you can always check in on our website about present and future programs. The meeting will run in such a way that we'll have some announcements if there's any. Usually Gary will give an announcement. If there's anyone else who would like to announce any program that's coming up that they would like to publicize, just raise your hand, get a few minutes for that, and then we'll go on to the program. So without further ado, I guess I'll have Gary, if you'd like to come up and just introduce yourself and Pebble and say a few words.
Thank you, Amy. Great to be here. Great to see all of you. There were a lot of eager folks here when I arrived who were really helpful in setting everything up, so thank you for all those who were the early arrivers and helping us to get situated, and it's great to see all these wonderful people here tonight. So I'm Gary Schoenberg. I'm on the advisory board. I'm also involved with Temple Hill Church. I've been coming to Temple Hill Church for over 20 years. We're an interfaith church. We have Sunday celebrations. We don't have any particular dogma. We are very much eclectic. We have no particular hierarchy. we're really an experiment that's been going on for 45 years, which is amazing that we're still around. So we have our Sunday celebrations vary from Sunday to Sunday, and the next 3 Sunday celebrations will be led by our former minister, Reverend Gary Cole, who will be presenting a series about spirituality and science fiction. And each one of the celebrations will be creative, involving dance, music, storytelling, meditation, all kinds of wonderful modalities. And Gary is really, I would say, he's a shaman. He moved to Mexico after being our minister for 17 years, and he'll be coming back for the next 3 Sundays. So we're really gifted to have Gary Cole. And we will also be gifted to have Gary Cole present at our next New England Metaphysical Society meeting on August 27th. He'll be here as well. So you have a chance to experience him here and bring all of his wonderful gifts and talents to all of you, if you choose to come. So pretty much that's what Pebble Hill is. A few logistics, if you haven't figured out where the restrooms are, they're downstairs. You have to kind of meander your way down the stairs, and when you go through the hallway to the right, there's men and women's bathrooms. If you have a need for handicap access, we have a bathroom that goes down outside. There's a ramp that takes us to the yellow barn, we call it. This is actually a barn. This was what we call a red barn. The structure was developed to create an open space. Unlike other churches, you don't see crosses, or you don't see the various different kinds of symbols. It really is, what we really worship is nature. So you see the trees, you see open space, you see all the many aspects of openness and expansion. So it's about inviting light in. So there's a lot of light that we bring into the space as well. And so it's a beautiful community. Underneath this space right here, there are crystals. There's a crystal grid underneath the structure of this church. There's a labyrinth in the center. This is one of the largest inside labyrinths on the East Coast. So we can do labyrinth walks here. People sometimes will do those. And people come and do workshops, presentations. We have a musical, various musical performances. David Young will be performing here. We're doing a concert here, presentation of meditation on Saturday night, August 29th. David channels George Harrison, and he really feels he's guided by George Harrison. He's connected with him. He wrote a book called Channeling George, and he has a whole series of songs. He's actually written, he's a musician, he's a singer, he's a songwriter who plays flutes. He plays 2 flutes simultaneously. He believes he was Pan in the past life. So he is an amazing human being, and the concert here will be quite awesome. If you want to learn more about it, go to our website, www.pebblehillchurch.org, and you can learn about the various things that happen here at Pebble Hill. Thank you so much. I know you didn't come to hear me speak. People came to actually hear Angela. So I'll turn it over to Amy, who will, or Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Where can I go from there? Well, just to say then that tonight the program outline is as follows. We'll have a quick introduction to our speaker, and then our speaker will present for 45 minutes till about 4 to 9. We'll take a break. We have food and also books available for purchase. And after the end of the evening, they'll be available for signing. And Angela will be here after the end of the evening to sign the books and to talk to you personally. Then after the break at 9, Angela will come back and give another 45-minute presentation. We think we're going to have a meditation and a gallery reading also, as well as her lecture, so it should be a very full evening. So let me move on then to introduce Angela as quickly as I can. I'll just give you her background. She was born and raised in England, but Angela moved here when she was 23, I believe, and has gotten her degrees here at the University of Pennsylvania and a master's degree at Villanova. She presently has studied at the prestigious Arthur Findlay College of Psychic Sciences in Stansted, England, and at Lilydale Assembly in New York, the world's largest center for the science, philosophy, and religion of spiritualism. Angela Dahm tonight will offer an evening of inspiration and hope as she reviews her newest book, Love Never Dies, From Heaven My Sister Speaks, which offers a new and exciting perspective about the afterlife. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Angela Dahm.
just stay there like that. So, my name is Angela, and as you just heard, I'm from England originally. I've been in the United States for over, 20-25 years. I've lived here longer than I've lived over there. I think my book is I've never done it, don't have my sister speaks. However, when I saw the advertisement today for this evening's presentation, it said a journey into the afterlife. And I laughed to myself because that's actually the title of the book originally, and I changed it along the way. And then I thought today, gosh, I should have kept that title. I was really, really good. But I don't think that this one is done now. It's all in print, so here that we have it. So I know my background. I did go to college here in the States. Thank you very much. I did go to the college in the States over here. But I just want to say, foremost, and that's on the back of my book, that foremost, I'm a daughter and a sister who lost both my mother and my sister in a couple of years' time, and it had a huge impact on my life. So that is why I'm here tonight, to share with you my story about why I'm here tonight, the impact I have. So before I go into everything, I just want to see how many here people who've lost their loved ones. Gosh, maybe everybody. All right, so we all belong to this special club that we don't want to belong to, right? And we're all here. It seems like the older we get, the more we lose people, right? And we kind of all deal with grief in our own way. So what I want to do today, I want to show you how I was able to communicate with my mum and my sister after they died. I didn't certainly know about this kind of world before. I want to tell you a little bit about what the spirit world is like from my perspective through what my mother and sister told me what it was like. I'm also want to talk about what our life's purpose is, again, from what my mother and sister told me what our life's purpose is. And then maybe take some questions after that. And then we'll take a break. And then if you're still with me, we'll come back, we can do meditation. And at the end, I'll give some messages. Hopefully I'll get some tonight. No, I'm kidding. So I'll just give you a few little messages, okay? I kind of got some notes because I didn't want it just to go kind of all over the place. It keeps me on track. I do tend to wander off when I'm speaking, so I've got my notes, so excuse me if you see me looking down just a little bit. So, in order for the book to come alive, and that's kind of how I want it to come alive today, I want to tell you a little bit about me and how it all happened. So, I grew up in England, in a city called Coventry. It's 100 miles north of London, so I don't know if anyone is familiar with England. If you take the map of England, excluding Scotland or Wales, but the map of England, you stick a pin in the middle of it, that's Coventry. Okay, so that's where I was from. And when I was 7 years of age, my parents got divorced, and that was a very traumatic thing because I was the only child in the school who had divorced parents at the time. It wasn't a time when we got divorced. Parents got divorced. So as a result of that, our mum became both mother and father to us. So we became very, very close. We were kind of like a unit. We were 4 children. My older sister Linda, who the book is about, myself and my twin sister, and then I own a brother. So mum just kind of kept us all together, and we just went everywhere. We all became best friends. I got married and came to the States in the late 80s, and I moved to San Francisco, and I became a flight attendant with an airline called Pacific Southwest Airlines. I don't know if anybody may have heard of that, but they're no longer in business. And then we merged with US Airways, and I ended up moving to the East Coast. I lived in Charlottesville, Virginia in the 90s, and then in 2000 I came to Philadelphia. All the time that I lived in the United States, because of the free travel back and home, I used to back and forth see mum and my sister all the time. Every couple of months we were back and forth. So we was always very, very close all the way through. My sister, Linda, who the book is about, came to live with me in Charlottesville, Virginia in the 1990s. And we lived together in the townhouse. She went to the local college there in Charlottesville, and I continued flying around the country. So we had a nice time together. We were very, very close, best friends. And then in 2000, her visa ran out, so she needed to return to England. And my company, I got transferred to Philadelphia. I stopped flying, and I got a day job and got into human resources in Philadelphia, which I've been doing that for about, 15 years now. So that was kind of the background. So life was good. Life was good. I'd seen America, lived with my sister. Things were just great, and I met a really great guy who I finally married. So I just had a nice life, and then one day it all changed. One day in 2006, the phone rang, and it was my sister Linda, and all she kept saying was, come home, Mum, you've got to come home. And I said, well, what's wrong? Well, why are you saying you've got to come home? Like, why are you scaring me like that? And she said, come home, because Mum's dead. So I went home, and it was very traumatic. Never lost anyone before. We'd lost our grandmother in the early 80s, but other than that, nobody. And to lose our mum, who was everything to us, was really, really hard. And my sister Linda, who was the eldest, she kept saying things like, if the doctor said I had 3 months to live, that would be fine with me. And when she said it the first time, I thought, yeah, I know, I understand, because then we'll live with Mum again. I didn't want to live without Mum. But she kept saying it. She just kept saying it over and again, like for 2 years. And I used to try and talk her out of it, saying life can't be that bad. We'll get through it. My twin sister was married with children, so she kind of immersed herself in the family. And then my younger brother went to therapy and got through it and fine. So Mum had been passed for about 2 years, and my sister was still, Linda was still not dealing with it. And at the same time, her husband had just been diagnosed with lung cancer. So things were not going very well. And I was coming home for the Christmas holidays, and I remember this very, very much. And I was delivering Christmas cards at the last minute. Flight was leaving that night, and I was like trying to push some cards through some neighbours' doors. And as I went to lift the mailbox up to put this one card through the neighbour, she had like a glass door. Out of nowhere, this bird just whacked itself against the window. It caused like a big thump, and then it made me jump. And it freaked me out, because I believe in omens, and I always knew that if a bird hit a window, it was a sign of death. And this bird fluttered away as if nothing would happen. Yet the thump that the bird hit the window was so strong that I thought the bird was dead. It didn't, it just fluttered away. And I was shaking, and I ran back into my house. I remember locking the door, I don't know why, just feeling more like I was protected or something. And I called my sister, and I said, I'm about to catch the flight, but here's what happened. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. She said, I'm sure that was because her husband had been diagnosed with lung cancer, he had 6 months to live. So she said that probably, that's what it is, don't worry about it. But looking back, I kind of knew at the time that wasn't really it, but it sounded good, because that's what you wanted to believe, right? So I came back to England, and my sister was fine, Christmas was nice, January was nice, and she started getting headaches probably around end of January, February. And, we used to call her every Saturday, and she said she had this headache, and then she said it hasn't gone away. Oh, the doctor said it's a migraine, still didn't go away. Oh, it's probably some sinus infection, still didn't go away. And so by the time we found out where it was a brain tumour, and she was gone in 5 weeks and 3 days from the diagnosis. So in May, she was gone. And her husband with the lung cancer died a couple of weeks before. So it was very, very, very sad. And at that point, you hate God. Well, I did. And, you took Mom, you took my sister. you know, what else is left, really, right? Where else is left? So, I want to tell you a little bit about the culture in England. We have what are called spiritualist churches, and in England, spiritualism is the number 7th religion over there. So, has anybody heard of spiritualism? Okay, awesome. All right, so we have about 600 churches in the UK for spiritualism. It's what spiritualists believe in, the continuation of life after death. And it was very part of our culture that if somebody passed away, you'd go up to your local church and get a message and sit in the audience and pray that the person in front of the church was given the message and it was for you. So there was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 churches near me. I kept going to them all, praying to get a message, get a message. And I was, you know, I did get some, and it helped. And then I was walking out the church, and I saw this poster about Arthur Findlay College, and it said, you know, how you too could connect with the spirit world and with your loved ones and be a medium, and you know, sign up for these courses. And I thought, oh, okay. You know, that'd be great. I wouldn't have to kind of wait for a medium to do it. I could go and like figure it out and I could do it myself. So I went on a week's course, and we have them all year round except for the Christmas and New Year, but for every week you can, you know, go to them. And by the end of the week I was able to make a connection, and I got a message, I gave a message. It was, you know, it was very interesting, something I didn't think I could do, but when you're meditating every day, the beginning of the day and the end of the day, by the end of the week you could. So tonight later on, we'll do one of those meditations, and then if you don't get your connection tonight, you can practice when you go home and you should go do it. So I went to Arthur Findlay College, did the week, and then I came back to the States. So my sister had been passed about 3 months now, and I was sitting on the settee, and I was crying, just like, you know, when you lose somebody, like, you can be okay for a few days or a few weeks, then all of a sudden out of nowhere you just get this uncontrollable, and you just want to cry, and you want to cry, and you want to cry. So that happened to me one morning, and I was sitting on the couch, and I could hear this the grandfather clock in the background. And you know, unbeknownst to me, and I know now because I'm so much more wiser, but at the time, I was becoming mesmerized by the sound of the ticking clock. And at the time I was crying, and I had this urge to write. So I picked up a pen and paper, and I just started writing. And I was crying, and what was very odd about this was I was writing so quickly, so fast, that it was more like scribble, and it was like big words, and it was all going like this, and it was like I was just, you know, writing fast, didn't know what was going on, the words were coming down, and I didn't know what they were saying, I was just writing and turning these pages, and then finally I just started crying, and I said, you know, I just miss you, I just wish you were here. And then that's when it all started. So I'm just going to go to the first time when it happened. Yeah, first time it happened. So I started crying, and I said like, I miss you, wish you were here. That is when I heard my sister's voice say to me, as if she was speaking down the telephone line. We've been talking back and forth to England all these years on the telephone line, and that's how it came in. It was like I had a telephone at the end of my ear. And she said, I am here, who do you think is writing this? And she went on to say that, and that was a different sensation from the writing. So the writing, I had no clue what I was writing, but when she said that, who do you think is writing this? And then she said, this information that you've written will help people. And as I wrote that down, I knew I was writing those words, but I didn't know what I'd written before. So I was overwhelmed with grief, and I wasn't quite sure whether or not it was really her, you know, was I imagining it? You know, I didn't know. It never happened to me before. This is the very, very, very first time. So I started questioning myself, and my sister and my brother in England, you can always count on your sister and brother. Are you sure? You sure, Celeste? You know, you're not making it up. Are you sure you imagined it? And I'm like, no, really, it really happened. And Michelle, we don't be telling too many people. And I said, okay. So it was all like that. They weren't like encouraging at all. And they said, well, you know, see if you can do it again. I said, I don't know, I can do it again. And so you just have like this conversation. And so when I was in England at Garth and Finlay, they had actually told me about Lilydale, New York. Has anyone here heard of Lilydale, New York? Oh, you should go, it's a great place. It's actually just south of Buffalo, New York. So you can drive there in 6 hours, I guess, from here. So it's well worth the trip. So I heard about Lilydale, and I was in driving distance, and you can go for a long weekend. They've got classes and all sorts of stuff there. So I thought, I'll go to Lilydale, and then I'll know for sure. I'll sign up for all the classes, and I'm bound to be able to figure it all out by the time I take all that. So it's an old, like a Victorian town. They have seminars and classes, weekends, afternoons, days. You do, every night, and you can stay at the bed and breakfast is there. And so I did all that. And then I showed like my writing to one of the medium people in the audience because I wanted to take classes, and she said, yeah, it is, and let's have some more. And I was like, getting like, oh, okay. And then they shared that they had done the writing and things, and this one lady was writing poetry, and I was like, oh gosh, they're all like me, and it was just, really, really good thing. So I came back from Lilydale, and at this point, I'm thinking, okay, it's not me, so I'm going to go and sit now and see if I can do it again. So I sat on the couch at home, and I made like an appointment with myself, like every morning at the same time, Monday through Friday. I took weekends off, but like in the morning I would sit there, and I would get my pen and paper. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready, and then like nothing would happen, or I think I heard something, I didn't, and you sit there. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one of the meditations that they taught us to do at Arthur Finlay. So I just started doing one of the meditations, getting myself into, get attuned to the spirit world. And so I started sitting, and then it came. My writing started happening, and my sister said that if I sat and made an appointment, that she would come. She said she would come. Just sit, and I will come. And then she said, and together, she said, we'll write a book. And I thought, oh, I'm not a writer. I've never written anything in my life. I hated writing papers at college. And I thought, oh, I don't fancy doing that. And then, because you have to rewrite and edit, I thought, oh, no. I thought, what am I going to write about? That's what I thought. What the heck am I going to write about? I mean, the story I just told you is the first 4 chapters of the book, right? That was me telling you my story. I got that bit down. But I thought, what am I going to write about for the rest of the book? And she said, don't worry. She said, just hold the pen and paper. She said, because I physically can't do that. She said, and I will give you all the words to write. She said, all you have to do is hold the pen and paper. And I thought, oh, all right. So you're still kind of like wondering if this can really happen. And then I was getting a little confident. So at first I was going into the meditative state, and it would take me, it'd take me a couple of times to get into it. I couldn't really see anything. But when you start sitting, and if you want to ever do this, if you start sitting at a certain time every day, and you start practicing, you start getting yourself attuned, it builds. It's just like the field of dreams. If you build it, they do come. Okay? It's not specific to me. It just started doing it, and it just started coming. So I got to the point where you could actually go deep and tune out like the lawn mowers in the garden and stuff. You can start tuning all out. When you first start meditating, you'll be thinking about laundry that needs doing, your shopping list or whatever. It gets to a point where you can just go into a zone and just start meditating. So back to me feeling a little bit confident. I wanted to, so I said to her one day, I thought, oh, she talks to me. I wonder if I could talk back. I wonder if I could ask her questions. I wonder, how it all kind of goes. So, which brings me to the part of the presentation where I wanted to tell you about the spirit world. So you may all be wondering what the spirit world is like, right? I did. So I said to my sister Linda, what's the spirit world like? Are you allowed to tell me? Is it a secret? Can I know? So she doesn't give it me all in one little piece. It's not like, one chapter and it's like, this is what heaven's like. She speaks about it, and so does my mum, different times throughout the book. So I'll just give you a couple of things that she said. So this is my sister. So she said, first of all, she says, I have work to do on this side. It's just like being on Earth. You meet people, you talk, you have meetings that you go to, there's committees, there's places to go, things to do. She says, remember the movie The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy starts off, it's in black and white, right? And then she goes in the dream, and then she wakes up and it's in beautiful multicolour, and she said, well, that's basically how it was when she passed over. She says, it's like you live in your life on the physical earth, and it's in black and white, and when you pass over, it just turns into this beautiful multicoloured place. That was kind of how she described it. And all through the book, they use a lot of movies and analogies of movies and songs and things as well to relate to us. So one of the times she said, oh, to tell it's like a balcony. I've got a note here to read it because it's probably too long to write it all out. So just as like. Right, so I'm just going to read this to you. This is was the first time I actually asked her what it was like. So she said, it's like a balcony. People hover over it, looking down at earth, waiting to see if they've been called in. There are classrooms off the hallways and that you have to go to and learn. Some of them are like classrooms on earth. Like most classes with desks, they want you to sit in them. She's quite funny. She says funny things about them. Some of the advanced souls get to go to the executive-style rooms with a conference room, and then beyond that, it's like something out of the Roman days where they sit around talking about philosophy. On days when many are learning, for want of a better word, their souls link. They link into a universal system, and they all learn as one. So in between all these learning sessions, you can come and look over the balcony at any time you want and check on your loved ones. Sometimes when you call me, it may take a moment for me to come through. Then she says, yes, we already know that when you'll be contacting us because we know everything that you do. So we can be here and there very quickly. And as I told you before, it's not quite the same in our world because time has a different meaning here. I think it would be good if you could write it down, a description of how it somewhat works over here and explain later. So throughout the book, she'll go on and talk about heaven. One of the ones that springs to mind is, she said, when people cross over, she said it's it's a celebratory day over there. It's like going to the outdoor movie theatre and there's a big screen and we all go to watch them. She said that's what it's like. So somebody crosses over and it's like a big movie. We all go and watch their story. And she said she liked that. So my sister had been communicating with me for a little bit, a couple of months, and it was great that she was, but I missed my mum. I was very, very close to her. I kept thinking, well, where is she? Is she ever going to come? Is it just going to be Linda? And then shortly, Mum did come, and all her messages are more about love and support, as you'd expect a mother to speak about her children, right? So hers is like that. So I did ask Mum. I said, Mum, what's heaven like? As well. So I want to just read through the eyes of my mother She actually had a whole chapter 11 as a book from her that she did. Okay, so this is now on. So firstly, when you cross over, you're met by many people, family first of course, and then many friends and family, even people you don't know. It doesn't matter that you didn't know them on earth, because you have a sense that you've known them forever, because you have in many other lifetimes. You know many, many people on this side when you come here, too many to count. Just imagine your own life. Look at the people that you know today. Passing acquaintances, people in the street, at the bank, the store, as you say, because in England they say the shops, as I say. Then think back to your first day at school, or the children you knew. She said, there's like a big crowd at a pop concert or a sporting event. All these people are all around you. She said the difference here is that you have the ability to know and remember each and every one of them. So she describes the spirit world as the spirit world is a real world that exists alongside the world that we live in now. It's a world that's full of life that exists just without the physical form. And that is the only difference between the spirit world and the human world. Once people understand the difference, they will see the truth of life, which is the continuation of the soul. So the soul lives on whether you're in this world in your physical body or you're in that world without your physical body. And when I heard that, it kind of reminded me of that movie, The Lovely Bones. Some of you might have seen that one. Okay.